start whenever you're ready.
Oh,
Cue the countdown.
Michael, I am ready, and we are ready. We are coming to you from our respective basements for the Week 12 preview, which we said we would do. Dave Smith, unable to attend tonight, so we just thought we'd bust out a quick one here, give you a quick little rundown on the playoff matchups and kind of what we see for this week's game. So you have to bear with us a little bit. It's Wednesday night, so the automatic lineups haven't gone in. So we're just going to piece it together here. Yeah, Mikey, what's going on, man?
Oh, not a whole lot, Derek. I'm excited for a bunch of football minus one game that I cared about tomorrow. And
that was a real kick in the dick, wasn't it?
Seeing it through, that was a kick in the beans. And if they don't play it this weekend, I mean, a lot of us are in peril. There are a lot of Ravens and Steelers on various teams here. So we'll see what happens on that front. But
I mean, they're definitely going to
stuff
play.
To care about every day.
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We got 5 solid days of football with big games every day. So let's get into it. See what
All right. So let me try to do a little screen share here. Boom. Do you see my screen here?
I do. It's magical.
Right. Perfect. All right. So I will start here real quick with a Donald Ross division. So Mikey and I went through, basically everyone's playing everyone, and no one's really out of it except, again, Beaver Tamers and probably the Black Leg. Everyone else is basically in control of their own destiny. So, but what I was saying is I think 7 wins will probably get you into the playoffs, or at least the tiebreaker for the last wild cards. So you can think about that. But what really I think we want to kind of highlight here is, division winners and the path. So I'll start with Donald Ross here. So we got Hulk Hands at 8-3 after a win last week. He's got 5 in a row, and a big win from Mapletron last week. Very nicely done, high scoring. So we got those
Defense
two guys.
Finally showed up.
Yeah. Did you? Fitzpatrick had an interception, right?
Yes, Minka had 2 interceptions. So after a long layoff and basically not contributing, he's starting to come back to the mean. I've been streaming defenses all season. It finally worked this past week. It was a really lucky and well-timed bit of good fortune.
All right. So what happened here? So what we got in this division, we got Mapletron playing DJ Booga Sugar. So if Mike wins that game, he's pretty much in, and if DJ loses that game, he's pretty much out. And then we got the Hulk Hands playing Back Nines Matter. Back Nines Matter has been reeling as of late. So that's pretty much one for the Hulk Hands there. So if the chalk wins there, we'll see. I don't know if I'll say the cream rising to the top, because it's definitely the best division that we got. Bussing and DJ, they've got good teams. DJ probably less so, but they're definitely capable of blowing up at any time. But
still waiting. I mean, if Darius Leonard ever shows up, plays like he did last year, that's going to be a huge boost for that team, because they've been doing okay with him doing very little. So
yeah. I think with them, their defense is just so good, and there's so many other people contributing. I think before it was kind of him on an island.
Yep. No, I think that's right. And the Week 13 matchup is Joe gets a free run at my team, but Back Nines Matter will play Boga Shoga. So regardless, if they were to lose this week, they'll both be 6-6, and one of them's going to come out of there 7-6.
Yep.
Unless we have the unlikely tie. So, neither one of those guys is out, right? If we look at the records in the other divisions, neither one of those guys is out, even with a loss this week. One of them is going to take a pair of losses because they have that head-to-head. But, this division, like the rest of them, basically breaks down into a pre-playoffs. And that's certainly the case in the Arnold Palmer division, which I'll run through real quickly for you, Billy Mack, and Goldberg. Again, mathematically, I think it's possible that if the black leg throws down like 2 consecutive unheard of 300-plus point weeks, he could work his way back into the conversation at 6 and 7, because 6 and 7 may be, kind of going to points as the tiebreaker for the 6th wild card spot potentially. You got Goldberg. Goldberg also, kind of like Bussing, is reeling a little bit. I mean, he put up second lowest points in the league last week. Fortunately, he drew Bussing, and ended up getting a win that kept him alive in the playoff hunt. But now he faces, Kenny Diggs. I think you've got, a fair number of good matchups, especially at the wide receiver position. Although, there are some open questions with injuries and stuff like that, exactly how your lineup is going to shake out. But, I think that, I think Kyler Murray gives you a leg up, and the Lord of the Slumps has posted Patrick Mahomes has the Bucks this week, and so that's a bad draw for a big point producer for his team. That's kind of offset by the fact that Ezekiel Elliott, also has Ezekiel Elliott has Washington, which, again, not a very good team, but a pretty damn good defense. And so a lot of tough matchups for his most elite players. And so I'd have to give you the nod. And I think with a win here, that puts you kind of in the driver's seat, considering that you get a shot, I think, at the black leg in week 13. Yep. Am I correct? Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Which, is not a freebie, but, the better of the matchups as opposed to drawing Billy Mack again. And so, I think this is a really important one for you this week because, it's between the two teams that you pair off against. You and Bill both play Black Leg and Lord of the Slums. For Billy Mack, I think I look at Goldberg's team. He's got a couple of guys I think that can post enormous numbers, and those guys have tough matchups this week. So not loving that. For Bill and the Black Leg, they've got both sides of the Tampa Bay running backs. The Fournette on the Black Leg going against Ronald Jones. Lamar Jackson's playing Pittsburgh. Could be a revenge game if they actually play that game, but I don't know that Pittsburgh is really going to yield a ton of passing yards in what ought to probably be another tight game. And Rodgers gets Chicago for the Mac attack, and that's not like a great matchup either. So, a lot of tough matchups this week, I think, in the real life NFL is going to make it a little difficult to figure out exactly how this thing's going to shake out. But, if you just look at the records and the balance, I really like Pittman emerging. I think A.J. Brown's finding himself a little bit if Godwin gets a clearer role on Tampa Bay's wide receiver core and emerges. I think it's going to be really tough to beat Billy Mack, and that's going to put him, in a good position. So I feel like you guys can kind of move forward. If you win this week, I think that basically closes out Goldberg as far as the playoff, certainly the division, because he'd be at 5 and 7, can't catch either one of you guys with 7 wins. But I think it's going to put him in a pinch trying to knock off Mac Attack just to get into that 6 and 7 conversation for the last wild card spot. So that's kind of how I see that one playing out.
Yeah.
And you want to take one of the matchups in Mike Strand's? Let's talk about another wide open, functional early playoff matchups here.
Yeah, absolutely. These top 3 guys, Bill Cosby, sleepers, whooped up on me last week. He is, let's see, this is handy right here. He is second in total points.
Yeah, he's extended that position versus the others. If he can draw even, he's got that tiebreaker pretty comfortably against the rest of his division.
Yep, exactly. So I'll take
and he draws Big Dom this week.
Yep. So, well, yeah. So that one, Dom's team really isn't too bad. So in the anything can happen league, I wouldn't, just write it off as a guaranteed victory. But at the same time, he's favored by 30 points here. And if you look over on this page, I bet you both of them didn't submit a lineup. No, Dom's in there. So he's got, 181 posted. He's got some good matchups here. I know I got Keenan Allen in a different league. He's a top 5 play this week. Connor draws a tough matchup, as well as Taylor. Phillip Rivers, probably isn't going to do too much against the Titans. So, probably if Bill Cosby's sleepers performs like they did last week, and knowing his players, I think they probably will. I'd probably take Bill Cosby sleepers in this one, which would put him in a tie for first place and Mike, you can take this one, Team Traz versus Darius Sanders.
Yeah, and here we've got Team Traz. Congratulations to Kyle, by the way. He became a father yesterday.
Yeah, hey, congratulations.
Enjoy it for now. It tends to be kind of all downhill, but when they're not having fits and being devil's children, they really enjoy and enjoy the honeymoon while it's going on here.
Yeah.
Anyway,
no one ever tells you that, right?
Yeah, exactly, right. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to see this week. David hasn't lined up yet, but some of his big horses like Derrick Henry's got Indianapolis. That's about as bad a draw as you can pull for a running back if he's not playing the Bucks. Then Will Fuller's got Detroit. Lockett's got Philly. That's a tough matchup. So, and Matt Ryan just looked fucking awful last week. Couldn't find anybody, especially not Julio, which kind of checked my ass a bit. But say what they. So I don't know. I mean, Traz has. Feed Nick Chubb. He's got Jacksonville this week. That is about as good a matchup as you could ask for, and I just don't see Carolina's defense putting a crimp on Dalvin Cook. And so, the running back situation is really good. Robert Woods has just been on fire, even though he's got San Francisco. Those guys are a bit of a mess. So I don't know. I mean, I think Team Traz, I feel like I pick them a lot, and they're kind of a 500-ish team, but I feel like they could win this, which would put this whole division at 6-6. Going into a final week where let's go over to week 13. I can't remember how this shakes out. Yeah, Bill Cosby's got Darius Sanders. And so, that's just a potential, that's a really nasty matchup. But Team Traz, if they've got another series of good matchups, and really, I think they can get enough mileage out of those two elite running backs to put Dom in a box. And so, Team Traz, despite the loss last week, remains in a very good position to potentially win this division. And then, as we said before, I think Andrew's got a sizable lead on the other two contenders in points. And so, if he is able to, run the traps to stay ahead of Dominic this week, he puts himself in the catbird seat, I think, for a shot to knock Dave back. And I don't think Traz can catch him in points. And so he has a real opportunity here over the next 2 weeks too. So this is a division that's just, with the exception of Dominic, wide open. And I just couldn't even sit down and figure out what the wild card situation even looks like until these games are done on Monday night, because I think it's so close across all the divisions. You've got a lot of 6-5 and 5-6 teams that have a clear path to get themselves in. So it's going to be an exciting little run here.
Yeah, for sure. And we
hooray for parity. I mean, incredible. I think last year, I think 2 of the divisions went down to the final week, and we had at least 9 teams that were still in it going into. We think we're going to be in the same boat here. We might lose. Lord of the Slums could, essentially be locked out. But beyond that, everybody else is going to have a shot, win or lose, this week going into week 13.
Yeah, I mean, this week, Lord of the Slums still controls their own destiny.
Sure, yeah.
Back nines matter, could pull off an upset. They still control it. DJ Booger Sugar could still get in. Mac Attack, if he puts a good week up, I could easily lose this week. And he would, if he puts a big week up, he might overtake me in total points. So it could be completely different. Right. Basically, if I think Andrew will win for sure. So he's going to control his own destiny playing Smitty next week. and Traz, Darius Sanders. That's a huge matchup too. So all of these games are very, very important for the playoff matchups. And, there's really maybe only there's no clear division winner yet either. Because Mike, if you win this week, you get to play Hulk Hands next week.
I can't. Yeah, but I can't catch him in record if he I can't catch him in points rather, at least, and possibly record also. I mean, if he wins this week, he's not. I think.
If he wins, he's locked it up.
If he wins this week, he's also going to lock up the number 1 seed. So that's, but it is still open. I mean, if Boston pulls the upset and I run the table, I could catch him. And I mean, even Blackleg, again, if he put up monster points, he could back into that last spot if some weird stuff happens,
For sure.
If he and Dominic win games this week or next week, that would throw things sideways too. So again, I think it's great. People, stayed with it. Some guys looked like they were, on life support 4 weeks ago, and were able to get themselves to this point and still be alive, which I think is awesome. It's been a fun season.
For sure. So just to kind of recap, it looks like 7 wins will get you in. So I think really the only 2 people safe for a playoff spot right now are you and Hulk Hands. So 4 spots still. 2 divisions and 4 spots still wide open.
Wide open. So go get them. If anybody's so inclined, make some trades before the kickoffs of the noon games tomorrow. There's a little bit of time left to try to squeeze out
by the time you're watching this, probably only a few minutes, but that's all right.
Yeah. So call me. I'm still interested in playing.
All right, man. Well, happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Good luck this week. Enjoy the games.